Good evening. I'm going to begin the select board meeting for Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Is anyone here for a public comment? No? Okay. Review of minutes for June 12th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 12th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, third item on the agenda is a liquor license transfer of stock and officers 68 Spruce Street. The select board has received an application for the transfer of stock, change of officers, pledge of license, and change of manager for Spruce Street Tavern, Inc. from Shane Buffton and Patrick Harrington to Nicholas O'Malley and Austin Gannon for the retail all alcohol restaurant license doing business as Spruce Street Tavern with Nicholas O'Malley as the new proposed manager of record for the premises located at 68 Spruce Street in Clinton. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this license?
Yes.
Okay. Those are microphones, if you could speak into them.
Okay.
Thank you. Just state your name and
Sure.
address.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Dan Notaro. I represent Nick O'Malley, Austin Gannon, and Anthony Gannon with regard to the amendment of the Spruce Street Tavern liquor license application that was dated July 15th, 2024. With me tonight are Nicholas, Austin, and Anthony. Currently, the Spruce Street Tavern alcohol license is owned by Spruce Street Tavern, Inc. The shareholders of Spruce Street Tavern are Shane Buffton, Patrick Harrington, and Anthony Gannon. Shane Buffton and Patrick Harrington have agreed to sell their interest in Spruce Street to Nicholas O'Malley and Anthony Gannon, Austin Gannon, as outlined in the purchase and sale dated July 15th, 2024. We're making an application for multiple amendments. Some of them I think you've already read off. Number one, we're seeking to amend the shareholders of the corporation. Shane Buffton, Patrick Harrington will sell their interest to Nicholas O'Malley and Austin Gannon. Anthony Gannon will maintain his interest in the corporation. Number two, in order to purchase the stock, the buyers are required by their lender to pledge the license and the inventory as collateral. So therefore, we're seeking the approval of the pledge. Number three, we're seeking to change the manager of the license. Shane Buffton will be stepping down and Nick O'Malley will be stepping in as the new manager to replace him. Number four, we're seeking to change the officers and directors. Shane Buffton would step down as president director. Patrick Harrington would step down as treasurer and director. Nicholas O'Malley would take over as president and director. Austin Gannon would take over as treasurer and director, and Anthony Gannon would maintain his position as secretary and director. So those are the amendments we're seeking. Just a brief overview. So Mr. O'Malley, Nick O'Malley, is a resident of Clinton. He has 25 years bartending and serving experience. He worked at the Old Timer Restaurant in Clinton here from 1999 to 2016. He's presently been at Spruce Street since 2016 in a serving and bartending capacity. Austin Gannon has worked at the Spruce Street Tavern Inc. for 8 years as a bartender and server, and has recently began managing on the business side of the corporation, managing the day-to-day business. They're both excited about, potentially getting the opportunity to begin the management of the Spruce Street Tavern Inc., which is already well-known established bar restaurant in Clinton. And, they're hopeful that the board will approve their application. With that said, I'd like to introduce Nick. This is Nick O'Malley. This is Mr. Gannon. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Any questions before we open the hearing part?
None for him.
No? Okay, since there's a hearing, we'll open that up. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the transfer of stock and officers and the liquor license for Spruce Street Tavern? Sorry, can't speak. Okay, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Is anyone here against that motion? Okay, we'll close the portion of that hearing. That's it. What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve the requested transfer.
Does that cover everything you need in that motion? Does that motion cover it?
Sure.
Yeah, it would be just to have the motion and do it all at once. Do the change of officers, the transfer of stuff, the pledge of the license to savings bank, and the change of the new manager being somehow. So all this portion.
So moved.
I second that.
Any more discussion?
Best of luck.
All
Thank
those-
you.
Well, we got to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay.
Thank you.
3-0. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Okay. Next on the agenda is common, I screw this up every time, common victular license, public hearing 54 High Street. The select board received an application for this license from Edgardo Valles, doing business as the Vegan Nest Cafe, to operate a restaurant business at 54 High Street in Clinton. Is anyone here from the Vegan Nest? Come on up. If you could just state your name and address and speak into the microphone.
Yes, my name is Edgardo Velez. I coming from Florida. I've been visiting for the last 4 years here in Clinton, Massachusetts. I got my family, my daughter here for the last, I guess, 8 years. I love the city. You know, I've been trying to do some business around, and I purchased the Vegan Nest. We're gonna run it as 100% vegan, and we're gonna do breakfast, brunch, lunch, early dinner. We're gonna open at 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday through Friday. And we feel very welcome with the city. It's been a very blessing for us to feel the welcoming from the people.
Great.
Very happy to make this change.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you so much. Since this is a hearing, we're gonna open it up for.
Madam Chair, can I just
yeah.
get a point of clarification?
Sure.
Is this a transfer? I know Vegan Nest has been open for a while. You're taking over from.
I take it over.
management?
Yeah, new
Okay.
owner. Yeah.
Okay,
So it would just be essentially a permanent license. for-
gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Since this is a hearing, we'll open that portion up. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this license? Okay, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Is anyone here to speak against it? All right, we'll close that portion. What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve the transfer, the license transfer, to Edgardo Velez, doing business as the Vegan Nest Cafe at 54 High Street.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Best of luck.
You're all
Thank
set.
you.
Thank you.
We look forward to going. All right. Next on the agenda is a Class 2 dealer's license, public hearing, 291 Berlin Street. We've received an application from Rodrigo Castro Sales to operate Class 2 vehicle dealer business under 62 Auto Care and Towing, Inc. at 291 Berlin Street in Clinton. This license was recently transferred back to Mr. Eugene Nietzsche, doing business as Cash Auto Sales, who previously held the license at this location for many years. Is anyone here regarding the license? Come on up.
Hello,
Hi, just state your name and address, please.
my name is Rodrigo Castro Sales. It's at 291 Berlin Road, Clinton.
Great. And you're looking to just transfer this license? to your business?
Yes.
Since this is a hearing, we'll open up the, this portion of the hearing to anyone who is here to speak in favor of this license transfer. All right, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Is anyone here to speak against it? We'll close that portion of the hearing. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Mike, just so I know we had got in under the deadline for the last transfer. So our transfers not under the the word I'm forgetting now.
Yeah,
Moratorium, thank you.
Yeah, I think the planning board's intent was not
No
to
new
harm
ones.
the current
Yeah.
businesses, so transfers would be okay, just no new applications. So I
Thank
did
you.
have a call today from a new prospective business owner, so those we told them we can't take, so.
Understood, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, just to make a note, for the building inspector, wanted me just to note that this, is currently for 6 vehicles. So I don't know if that's what you're asking for, that same number of vehicles or what the.
Yeah, if it's possible, you can have more space for more vehicles. This would be better for me because just 6 vehicles is not like enough, you know. If it's possible to get more spot, I appreciate that.
I think if it was probably more.
There's a plenty space over there, you know, like we can fit more cars over there. Like if you can get more spot for
Yeah.
vehicles, I really appreciate it.
So he would need planning board approval for more cars?
Right.
So we can approve it tonight with the 6, and
Right.
then he can work through the planning board to
Right.
add any additional vehicles? Okay, does that make sense? We can approve it tonight for 6, and if you
Okay.
want to add more to it, then it would just go
We
to
can
the
apply for
planning board
more.
and probably come back here, to be honest, but just kind of work through that process.
That works for
Like I
me.
said, the moratorium is meant for more new, so,
Sure.
okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Class 2 vehicle dealer license transfer at 291 Berlin Street, 62 Water Care and Towing to Rodrigo Castro Sales.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you all set.
Thank you.
There's,
Is this, wait, there's one more. Sorry, sir.
Sure.
Seeing another one. Okay, next one is an application from Rodrigo Castro Sales to operate a commercial garage repair business under 62 Auto Care and Towing at 291 Berlin Street, Clinton. So this is just, again, like a transfer from the previous owner
Something, yeah.
for repairs.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. This is a hearing as well, so. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this license transfer? Okay, we'll close the portion of that hearing. Is anyone here to speak in opposition of it? Okay, we'll close that portion of the hearing. Any discussion from the board?
None for me.
No? Okay, what's the pleasure?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the commercial garage repair license transfer from 291 Berlin Street, 62 Auto Care and Towing Incorporated to Rodrigo Castro Sales.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, item number 7, Class 2 dealer's license, public hearing for 995 Main Street. The select board has received an application from Onyx Auto Group to operate a Class 2 vehicle dealer business at 995 Main Street in Clinton. This request was made in June prior to the moratorium taking effect on July 1st. Public hearing was continued from the last select board meeting. You want to come up? Hello again. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
My name is Casio, 995 Main Street,
Alan De Oliveira, 995 Main Street.
and we're here again.
Yeah.
We got the approval for 30 cars yesterday with the
Okay.
planning board.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Just ready to proceed forward with it?
yeah,
You good?
please.
Okay.
Madam
Hearing
Chair, I
too?
did put on the desk,
Yeah.
board member's desk, the site plan that did be approved, so that was presented at the meeting last night. So it appears, you may want to, if it may ask the applicant to explain a little bit. So they do have a copy of that plan, so if you could run through that.
All right, so in front of the building, basically, we have 2 spots for handicap, and we have like 3 or 4.
3 for handicap.
Three
and then
handicaps, yeah.
5 for customer.
Yeah, 5 for customers. And then behind the building, we are going to have only for employee parking, just, so we have places for our employees to park. On the side of the building, will be also customers and a little bit of employees in case we need more parking. We're gonna try to keep all the cars on the back. Just because, for safety reasons, that's what we explained yesterday to the planning board. So there's not any traffic or any problems at Main Street. Yeah, and then we also have, easy access around the building in case, we have to do a turnaround and we also have, spots available inside the showroom, that we can, get, 2, 3 cars there easily. It's a pretty big spot. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Okay. No, I was just gonna open the hearing.
If I could, Madam Chair, if I could
Yeah.
again, just ask the applicant if they could maybe explain the business relationship a little bit. It came to our attention recently that I guess on the application, the names on the application have changed a little bit. So if we could just kind of explain who's going to be running the business, who's part of the corporation, who's responsible, and I think that the board wants to know who's answerable for following the requirements on that.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, my name is Alan de Oliveira. I'm the one that will be running the business with Luis Gutierrez. He couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. We're at run car business, so that's pretty much it. We just
Car Express.
yeah, Car Express, because when we first applied, we had like some questions that we wasn't like sure what was going on because of the class C, sorry, for dealers. So that's why we when I first applied was under my wife's name, but we already did all the corrections, so everything is good to go.
So basically, the same owners of Car Express is going to be running on Excel.
That's a group.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're just growing,
Yeah, just
so we need a little bit more extra space, and we don't want to give up the spot to Car Express because we already grew the business and all.
spend some money doing all the
Yeah.
renovations and everything. So
So
yeah.
Expansion.
expansion, exactly. Yes. I'm just the owner of the building. I'm here to helping him out, trying to make sure that goes nice and smooth here
Okay.
tonight. And with you, if you guys have any questions or concern.
So Madam Chair, so pending the board's action, we would then ask if they could complete an updated application. So we have on file, we have the correct contact people on file, so we know who's part of the business.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can come in tomorrow and get that done.
Part of the, well, yeah.
Can we do it now?
We'll see when they vote.
Oh.
Oh, I see.
And this is a hearing, so we're going through the hearing again?
Mhm.
Okay. Since this is a hearing, we'll open up that portion. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this license? Okay, we'll close that portion. Is anyone here opposed? We'll close that portion. Any additional discussion? What's the pleasure?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Class 2 vehicle dealer license for 995 Main Street under, this has Isabel Miera,
Yes, my wife. Yeah.
and that,
Yeah, we're just gonna.
perfect, doing business as Onyx Auto Group, as approved by the planning board from August 6th, 2024.
Can we add pending a new application?
Pending a new application.
Because is your sign name going to be Onyx or is it going to be Car Express?
Onyx.
Onyx, yeah, it's a different color.
So we
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
so we know that's gonna be-
I think technically as a dealer, you can't have 2 spots. So the same name, so that's why we're applying for different name. Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So we couldn't be operating under Car Express at 640
40,
or, yeah.
How many more you got?
I know.
Should we plan ahead or?
No, that's it.
I mean, for now.
Right. You never know. We gotta wait a year now.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, you're all set.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Swing by for that new app.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 8 on the agenda is Karen McNamara, Oak Street Block Party, street closure. Neighbors in the Oak Street area are requesting permission to close a portion of Oak Street. How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. I remember you from last year, I think.
Yeah,
Must have been a success.
it definitely was. You need my name and
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Karen McNamara, 319 Oak Street.
Thank you.
My friends and neighbors are in the back.
Hey guys.
Mia, Gage, Sandra, and
Yeah,
Miranda.
familiar
Sorry.
faces. Yep.
See what I was forgetting. Yes, we are looking to do our 3rd annual block party this year. It was great last year. We didn't get any complaints that we know of. I don't know if the officers in the back got any complaints, but it was great. We had double the amount of people we had from the first year. And we're changing things around just a little bit this year. Since we hopefully will be able to block off the street again, we're going to use people's driveways in between where the blockades are to spread the party out a little bit rather than have it all on my property. And people seem to be excited about that idea. So yeah, that's really the big change that we're asking for permission to do, besides getting the barricades this year.
Okay. What do have has it been reviewed by the police and the fire yet, or is that? Do we know?
Yeah, I generally ask them to check the police and fire.
Okay.
They're both here today. I don't know if you've talked to them yet.
I haven't, because
Okay.
last year Phil said, wait till, actually,
Oh, okay.
I can't remember how it went last year, to tell you the truth. So I was gonna talk with Phil and then go, but talk to you guys.
Okay.
So whatever I need to do.
So we put pending.
It's subject to their review or approval.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Oak Street Block Party Road closure for August 31st, 2024, 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. pending the approval of the police chief and fire chief.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Best of luck.
All
Thank you
right.
guys so
Have a
much. I
fun party.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Next is Library Director Marie Letarte, grant update and sustainability. Maria,
Hi,
if you could just state your names, please.
Short Marie Letarte, Library Director.
Victoria Parkinson, trustee.
I just like to go before the board once in a while to let you know what's happening in the library. Have some calendars, just so you know what's happening this month. Last I was there, I was in front of you, I guess it was before the town's grant application was submitted. It was successfully submitted in May. And then we had a review in July, and I found out a little bit more information is that he is reviewing 12 different library applications and sites. So we are competing with 11 other libraries looking for medium-sized libraries. There are altogether, it sounds like there are 22 applications, and they can only fund 6 to 8 depending. The other 10 that I didn't mention are either small or large, so we're actually not competing with them. They will make their decision and announcement in October. So we will know in October whether or not we go forward. And just as a reminder, what that means is that, you know, there's paperwork to sign saying the town accepts the grant, and that's the planning and design. I think you all remember probably going through this with the schools. And then there's like a 1.5 year review process of deciding to renovate or build new. And so the reviewer checked both sites, asked questions, and couldn't say anything else.
Thank you.
And then in the meantime, we are, our library is trying to be certified sustainable with the sustainable library certification, which is economically feasible, environmentally sound, and socially equitable. And the categories we're reviewing, there's an actual format: outdoor spaces, indoor spaces, energy, water, transportation, materials, social cohesion, collective impact, resilience planning, financial stability, and collections. So all that is like sort of broad categories. Some of them And if you want details, anytime you want more details, I can tell you, but I don't want to print them all out because there's like a bazillion.
Okay.
But I also wanted to take note of time of year where we get our statistics, and usage of the library is up. It's people coming in, you know, taking into account COVID. Every year usage goes up. People borrow more stuff. People are using the library more. People coming to more programs. So just so you know, it's a library is always a worthwhile investment.
Love libraries.
That's all. I don't have to vote. You don't have to
Great.
vote on anything, but I'm just gonna give you a calendar.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Yes, no, that's good.
More people.
Thank you.
I need more hands for this.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your
Great.
time.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for the update. And then the Make It Public grant for artist mural at Depot Square, I'm going to table until our September 4th meeting for that update. Next discussion point is American Rescue Plan, additional recommendations. We have, some department managers here who would like to make some, following requests and give us some additional information on some potential ways we could, spend our American Rescue Plan money. So, well, let's start with the fire station garage doors. Brian? Come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Brian Farrager, Facilities Director.
great.
Does everyone have a copy of the write-up that I had?
The
Probably.
doors, yep.
Yes. So I'm requesting, I do have a quote. One, I'm working on a second quote, just to make sure my numbers are right, but I'm requesting $95,000 to replace 9 of the garage doors at the fire station. We've had numerous repairs, different sections replaced, and if you drive by, you can see it's a little mismatched in certain areas. Along with the kind of look of it, the operation part of it, we've had some issues with the sensors, maybe not being located in the right direction. There's new technology out there. So what we're looking to do is try to upgrade that. We're doing the windows, so this kind of ties the building envelope together. And with some of the new technology, we're looking at options. For example, the police dispatch, they have eyes on the station. They hopefully will be able to control the doors in and out if there is a call and no one's manning the station. They have the ability to shut those doors remotely. So that's all kind of part of the new package that we're looking for. I stated here that we'll have a balance of around $15,000 from the window project based on the several quotes that I received, and ultimately the contractor that we signed on with. That portion could be used with, if you guys approve or agree, because it was for the windows, used to kind of supplement and offset the cost of the doors. That's why I'm not asking for the 105 like the quote said. And I did put maybe a $5,000 buffer just in case there's any electrical items that the garage door company doesn't cover, and we have to contract someone else that should cover any install changes. So.
Sounds good. Any questions for Brian?
So just so I'm clear, the 95 is plus the 15.
So 95, I'll add the 15
Yep.
to that.
It's not
Yeah,
95 minus 50. Good.
yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. I think what we're gonna probably need to do is just, we're just going through our like ARPA spreadsheet about what's been spent, what was the old. So we're just gonna like, gather this information. So we're not gonna vote on it tonight, but we'll like get back to you just when we just have a firmer idea of
Yeah.
like the whole picture. Versus
Absolutely.
doing it ad hoc, so.
Okay.
This is helpful. Thank you so much for coming in. You got a few more though, right? Athletic, I feel like.
Yeah, I didn't
these
see
things
any.
we talked about before, or?
Yeah,
No.
these were
I feel like this-
potential warrant articles for last town meeting that I think
Oh.
were removed. So
Okay.
We wanted to discuss
All
that they
right.
could apply to the ARPA funding.
Okay.
So we did. You have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to
well, the
keep
next
track of it.
three from the spring.
Okay.
And the board had voted during the town meeting warrant to remove them as subject to further review by ARPA. So just kind of looking for a formal approval when the board gets to that point of approving more projects.
Yeah, so we have the tennis courts, the athletic track at the athletic complex, and it looks like the repairs and upgrades to the skate park would be,
So no.
we'd like to
Okay.
consider.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a
And
new
what-
one on there for the dispatch center fire alarm reporting system.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that on here? I'm not seeing.
Yeah, and the fire chief
Well,
was here to explain that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Explain
okay,
it.
okay.
I think what's gonna happen is like we have an old spreadsheet with, and we're gonna update it, and then we're gonna see what we have left, what's already been allocated. And then also there's a few things I think that need to be, a deadline needs to be assigned to them because there's some we've allocated to things that haven't come to fruition and we have till December to put it under contract. So at some point, we're gonna have to make some decisions about it. So, so now we're just kind of getting updates. But,
Very good.
all right.
I do, before I leave, I
Yeah.
did send a facilities update. I know we're not gonna discuss that tonight, but just to give you guys time to review it. I have hard copies if anyone wants one. If not,
Yeah, if
would
you
you
have
like
one.
one? You have it?
Sure.
Um,
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
tree's dead.
All right. Thanks for that.
Thanks for doing it too.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Moved over my coffee. Okay, and to continue with the ARPA discussion, the dispatch center fire alarm reporting system, you guys come up. I cannot speak today, just fumbling over it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you could introduce yourselves, that would be great.
Brian Coyne and Chief of Police. Dan Walsh, I'm the dispatch supervisor.
Michael Lutz, I'm the fire chief. So in the real brief, years ago, we had all the pole stations on the streets, they were all box alarms. That was all overhead wires. In Chief Hart's era, it all went electronic. So we went to Easton Electronics combined with AES. Basically, it was a box in a building that was sent wireless, and there was a connection point, middle point, people were Easton Electronics. So all of a sudden, Easton Electronics, and Dan's kind of the technical guy, I'm the guy that saw a revenue source here. So anyway, they decide that they're gonna get out of the business. So Tom Kokonak is a lieutenant in Sterling, and he says, hey, chief, this is a chance to get a revenue source for the town. So he explained to me that he was gonna meet with AES and have AES develop the middle person program, which they've done. So that being said, they developed it, and it's $29,500 for us to get into this program. And then it's a $3,500 maintenance fee annually?
Yeah, and the 29,000 covers a server and the necessary software for the town to acquire, and then it's $3,500 a year thereafter, and that provides 24/7 tech support if something happens. AES provides that.
So basically, what we thought was, being a revenue source with Sterling and other municipalities, they charge $300 to each of the people that have that box in their building as a revenue. Whereas we have all the town of Clinton's properties on there, you can't charge yourself. But being realistic, if there's 100 on there and we charge $300, we have a revenue of $30,000 a year that's gonna come in. So I kind of saw the revenue, so I said, this isn't a bad deal if we can set it up that way. And basically, that's what we're looking to do, is just try to change things up.
Madam Chair, sorry for my ignorance. Can we just back up and
Yeah.
explain what this is?
So essentially what you have over there is we have two computer screens where all of a lot of properties in town, the fire alarm systems ring direct to the dispatchers. So the call goes out within 30 seconds. The two public safety dispatchers there take the information, dispatch the fire department. That is encompassed in a server in the back room along with the software. The server and software is provided by Eastern Electronics, and they're no longer providing that. So
Gotcha.
in order to maintain that level of service, which is the easiest and safest way to our residents and the businesses is to acquire our own server and software. And that's what the 29,500 is for, is to acquire that equipment. AES will then provide the service that Easton is currently providing for us. And they're doing it for Sterling, it's in the same boat, Fitchburg, and many other towns that had Easton now are in the same boat as us acquiring this new technology.
And sorry for my ignorance again, but so this is commercial properties?
Commercial,
There's-
residential, 309 Church Street. I mean,
So do I have to put something in my house or?
No.
that- Okay.
No.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, high see buildings.
And then how does that work? Is the new company go around and equip?
They're gonna,
These-
so almost every one of them has them now.
Okay.
So if a new building comes in, they're gonna have to buy their own equipment, but they'll still be able to attach right into our system. So there could be a potential for more revenue. Example, Main Street, when all those 4 properties go in, if they all put individual boxes in down there, that's 4 more boxes.
Uh-huh.
But the transition is seamless.
And right.
Yes, it's the same and the software is essentially the same. Just provide AES right now and Easton both provide us a service that Easton is leaving. So AES is picking up the other portion that they're not already one of the middlemen, so to speak, for our current fire alarm, way the fire alarms go into the station.
And just because I'm super dense, I've got a multifamily and a business. I've got something in both places that's going to let you know if the place is on fire.
The business would come in directly to us. You can have
Is there something in there? Is a fire alarm or?
you would have a fire alarm system.
And that's
Yeah.
tied into this.
That ties into
Correct.
into a panel that's in the building and then wirelessly goes right up to them.
Obviously, I don't have this, so I don't. But with the new place, do they have to put a new thing in, or is that going to just tie into your server?
They would have to put a system in and then it would be then tied.
Are
through
we
the
going to let
NICs.
everybody know about this, or how do
Right.
we?
Yeah,
Okay.
letters will have to go out,
Gotcha.
explaining to people what's gonna, the transition.
Transition.
And everything we needed to select a provider and get it approved before we notified anybody what's gonna happen.
The benefit of this, and not these guys are the experts more than me, I worked with it when we did the combined dispatch center and it was just after Chief Hart. I think it was actually Chief McLaughlin. And, all the equipment came up to the police station. And the benefit of it is a company that owns a big housing development or a business, rather than a private company that goes to outsources their call center. Call goes to the call center goes to dispatch dispatches the call out. This is, it cuts out the middleman and the call comes directly into the dispatch center. We get people there immediately. Yeah, the services, fire, police are dispatched a lot faster.
And
So that's something that we need to send out and let the business owners know that have it. Maybe even some of the business owners that don't have it, maybe would even expand upon. it.
Right. That's sort of what I was curious about,
Yeah.
like how you get
Send a
looped
letter
into
out.
this thing if it's.
Mark,
just
Mark,
some
probably
standard-
like, hey, this town offers this service, because there is a lag time. It's been proven that a call center such as we call a central station, an alarm
Yeah.
company, their dispatch center will take the call, take that information and get it to us. And it can be anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes
so-
after the alarm goes off before the call is received here, where the fire alarms come in right now on the computer and makes an alert tone, and the dispatchers have it out to the fire department within 30 seconds that they have the address. So it's the safest and best way is to replace that equipment. But yes, it's also beneficial to all the property owners that it comes directly to us rather than employing an alarm company to be their middleman, so to speak.
And without muddying these waters too much, like how would we let everybody know? Like, cause I think it's great. I just want to make sure.
We have the list of property owners.
And do you guys have the ability to mail people?
Yep.
Okay.
And they provide us with a form letter to send out.
Okay.
There's gonna be a switch. AES is gonna help us with that. Easton also, the outgoing company also provide us the letter send to your people. Because we're not gonna be doing the service. This is what you can send out to all your business
Yeah.
owners.
Does
We
this
first needed a game
postage
plan.
and stuff like, do you need help with
Right,
that?
Madam Chair, because I think that's a good point to Mr. Kerrigan, that there's existing businesses that need to be informed of changeover. But then there's a potential of other businesses that might.
Yeah,
want
we
to
just
join
want
it,
everybody
to be able
If-
to reach out to everybody.
Yeah.
They serve the
A
existing-
mass mailing to every business in town could create more revenue for the town and better service too. Quicker, timelier responses. That's a win-win to me.
Do we need to take into account that like postage and stuff like that? Or is that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it shouldn't be that.
No,
Shouldn't.
Okay.
I think we're
They
good.
don't.
Let us know.
Sounds good.
Excellent. All right.
And then I got just A curiosity question.
Do we want to, we're going to vote on this? Or we're going to table this one? That's fine with me.
To just.
Yep, that's fine.
Include in the
Okay.
greater discussion.
Under advisement. Yep.
And I've just got
With
one
prejudice.
question. If you can't answer, it's not a big deal. Reference the ARPA money with the other request that about the fly car and all that. Do I have to come back in front of the board again for that? Just
I think everything.
because I know,
I'm not to speak for the chair, sorry.
well, just, my concern is as the year comes to a close,
Right.
I want to make sure that, that's, those things that are on there are a lot of money. That's all I'm asking.
Madam Chair, my understanding was that things we voted on are voted on. I think we're just trying to
Yeah.
clean up the balance,
Got it.
since we're getting close to the end.
Right, right. I think if things were voted to be approved, then a letter should have gone out to department. But there's some things that are still pending that the board would still need to take action on as well. So I think that the chair referenced at a future, next meeting or the future meeting, that spreadsheet will be up to date. What were original requests, what have been added, what's been approved, what's been spent, and what's left, so that the board can make decisions by December. Because we don't have to spend by December, but we need a
Yes.
signed
Yeah.
contract by December, showing that the money's been allocated.
Right.
Is this time sensitive?
No, no, just, it's the reason that I asked that question is.
Not the fly
the
car,
fire-
with the,
fire-
with the,
This is time sensitive.
when does that,
Quote that we got, it said 30 days. We got it July 19th. They gave us 30 days on.
so
August 19th would be when, I mean,
would the board be opposed to approving that piece only because of the invoice would lapse by the time we meet the next time?
I would not be opposed.
And we know that there's around,
Yeah.
29
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
there.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
mean, I want to
sense.
clean it up, but I think we're all in favor.
All right, so, I'll make a motion to approve the where's my agenda. The, approve the request for the dispatch center fire alarm reporting system, as requested.
Second.
Who's in favor?
And just to clarify, what the request is it's a 29.5 plus the 3,500 or just?
No, the 3,500, we're gonna put in the budget next year.
3,500
Is
is
the
year
maintenance
two.
on it.
Maintenance is charged in the first year. The update, just the outlay for the equipment
like
stuff,
an investment.
29.5 gets the system in, and that'll be the yearly upkeep then after that.
Just so we know we can add it to
Yeah.
the list, and we'll send a letter showing that it's been approved at that amount.
And then going back to the other thing, just for clarity, I asked for 70,000 for a monitor. That being said, when we were in the finance committee process, I was gonna put 70,000 for the second one in my budget. And then I said, well, possibly, so it was nixed out of my budget. That's my question, because that would change the amount that I asked for. That's why I'm saying, if I have to come back and ask for another 70, I will. I just kind of need to know. I can send it to Mike and Rich.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's kind of just spend the next
Yeah.
couple weeks cleaning this up and figure out
That's
like,
fine.
what was in your budget, what was nixed because of it, and then, kind of like, just keep this moving
All right,
forward.
sounds good. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
And even to your point, having getting an update from the approvals. Like, for
Right.
example, says big community economic development.
Right.
What's the delta?
Yeah.
Then if we can close it out.
Yeah, and there was some stuff that I think, I mean, I was talking earlier, town administrator, and we started this in 2021. There's some things on there that have been kind of pending, and I think now is just like a good time to assess the situation, figure it out, and reach out to these people and say, we're good, we're not good, we'll figure it out. And to the chief's point, yeah, I do remember some of the stuff that was maybe cut from the budget and with AI to having maybe funding it through ARPA. So, all right, we'll just spend the next probably couple weeks, month, just trying to assess it. And then as we're kind of approving things, we can then just see where we're at. But I just wanted to look at it more holistically. But public safety is important, so move forward on that. Okay, Old Home Day event, September 6th and 7th. Well, 2024. Old Home Day Committee will need the following. Use of the town hall on Friday, September 6th and Saturday, September 7th. Street closure for Church, Walnut Street and Union Street. Petty cash advance in the amount of 1,000 to set up cash boxes for the events. And Old Home Day Committee would like to request their annual donation from the Civic Fund to support the event. Any comments or questions about that? I don't know what our annual donation is. I'm sorry if it's in the packet.
I think that's 5,000.
I think so, yeah. I think it was 5 and 5 for that Old Home Day and the fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I can make the motion.
I'll make the
I
motion.
was gonna say.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve for Old Home Day, we approve the use of Town Hall on Friday, September 6th to Saturday, September 7th, 2024. And we approve street closures for Church Street, Walnut Street, and Union Street pending coordination with public safety. Then we approve a petty cash advance in the amount of $1,000. To set up cash boxes for the events on Friday and Saturday in Central Park. And that we approve an annual donation from the Civic Fund of $5,000.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. All right, 13, lucky 13, cannabis host community agreement updates. Town solicitor has drafted updated host community agreements to conform to the new Cannabis Control Commission's regulations that have been requested by the following businesses: Liberty Compassion Inc., Fitzcanna, and SQ Causeway.
You know, pretty of these entities already have post-community agreements and moves up the use of, but as you may recall, statute, cannabis statute changed. 22, and then there was regulations that came out by the commission in 2023. So all the HCA's have to be updated. So these three now have been updated, very similar to the one that the board approved last month was Euphoria Farms. So they all track the same type of language. It's really now mandated by statute. So tonight I'd be looking for the approval of these three HCA's, subject to any final modifications that I see need to be made. But all of these HCA's are all going to look pretty much the same. And next month, I think we're probably going to have two more that were previously signed several years ago that are going to have to be updated also.
So Madam Chair, what's happening is a lot of these businesses had gotten provisional licenses from the state, and now those have been expiring. So now they're up for renewal. So every time they submit the renewal application, they have to include HCA, and the CCC flags it as saying it's not conforming with the new regulations, which prompts them to reach out to my office, and then I put them in touch with town council. So as town solicitor said, we got another call yesterday. So as they're, the next, I think, month or two, we'll probably start to hear from whatever one's got provisional. Some of them have gone by the wayside, so those we won't hear from. But any ones that are still in the pipeline, as Mr. Gibbons said, they'll all be coming forward.
Perfect. Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the cannabis host community agreement updates for Liberty Compassion Inc., 179 Brook Street, Fitzcanna Inc., 75 Green Street, SQ Causeway LLC, 731 Main Street, as proposed by the town solicitor.
I'll second for discussion.
Discussion?
Yeah, just it's nice to see the Triple C is doing something, Mike. But as that dumpster fire continues to burn, I'm going to be voting against these per my past votes.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
2-1. All right. Next is a review of open meeting law complaint relative to our July 10th, 2024 agenda. So we received an open meeting law complaint from Patrick Higgins on July 13th, 2024. Everyone should have a copy of that complaint here. The complaint alleges that the committee violated the open meeting law on July 10th, 2024, because the meeting notice did not include the names of individuals being considered for annual appointments to boards and commissions. The town council has advised that the open meeting law requires that meeting notices must include names of candidates to be considered for appointments if they know at the time the notice is posted. So the meeting notice for this meeting includes the names that should have been provided with the July 10th meeting notice. And going forward, that will be how the board staff handles appointments and meeting notices. So town council has prepared a draft response letter, and you should all have copies of that as well. If there's no objections, I'll work with town council to finalize the response letter and submit it to the complainant and the Attorney General's office. Any
No, Madam
questions?
Chair, just one point of clarification.
Sure.
I just want to make sure the record shows that the complainant was Patrick Higgins of Northport, Alabama.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, do I have to vote on that? No, we're good. We're just. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Now on to the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items, just wanted to go over with the board kind of quickly, just highlighting, I know the police chief was here earlier, that, sadly, they had their national night out scheduled for this week, and due to weather, it was canceled. It's generally a national day on that particular day on Tuesday. So there wasn't any rain date. So they apologize that they weren't able to hold it and look forward to doing it again next year. But the neighborhood night out, which is over at Lakeside Housing, will be held on August 22nd, and hopefully they'll have good weather that night as well. I also just wanted to highlight a public thanks to Jan Rizecki, who was the commissioner chair of the Council Commission on Disability for many, many years. She is stepping down from that role. And I want to thank her. I've worked with her closely, and she was a really good person, very caring in the disabled population, but also, had a communication with my office to be able to come up with any concerns and work together. So I thank Jan and wish her well in her future. She's retired from state service and keeping herself pretty busy. So thank you, Jan, but just wanted to highlight that to the board that she will be resigning that position. So open up another opening on that committee.
Okay.
The next item was Mr. Duffy from Community and Economic Development Director had informed me that he had received a $230,000 grant from National Grid for EV supercharging stations. So they're the fast chargers. And this grant will pay for the whole project. The initial grant that we had gotten earlier was only for the charger itself, and they were just kind of the basic chargers. We then had to do all the site work, so it was going to be a large cost onto the town as well too. And he was working with the DPW to hopefully do a lot of the work, but that it did have a town cost to it. This one here will allow all of the work to be covered under that grant, and they're the fast chargers. So that'll be more to come once Mr. Duffy, he just got that news when he got back from vacation. So once we get more detail, we'll bring it to the board's attention.
Excellent.
Locations.
Great.
I just wanted to kind of touch briefly on some of our vacancies, some of our personnel items. The treasurer collector position had been advertised. I think we mentioned in a previous board meeting. There are some candidates with qualifications that the consultant felt were worthy to move forward. The review committee, search committee, has interviews set up for next week. So they will go forward with those interviews and hopefully be in a position to make recommendation to go to the next level. So that's moving forward. On the agenda, further on the agenda is for dealing with the HR manager recruitment. is asking for the board to appoint someone on that search committee. I think speaking with the personnel board, they would like to be involved in we did the last time with having personnel and select board and school people, because this position worked for both sides of government. The advertisement has been out, a number of applications, resumes have been received. But I think once we get a committee set up, if that committee can at least review those applicants and see if there's some that are worthy to go forward on that process as well. So the other two positions that recent assistant town administrator and the building inspector, we're starting the recruitment of those positions. I spoke with the building inspector recently. Mr. Salmon's done a great job for the town, hoping that he might reconsider to stay on, but I think he is in a position to look for retirement in the early fall. So we're going to move forward with that position. And Mr. Salmon has been very gracious to either help out as needed before, during, and after. So even if we hire someone, if there's some need for the town, there's certainly willingness to help out. So we'll go forward on those two items as well too, and hopefully start to, as we get back into the busy time of the fall, hopefully start to be able to fill some of these major department vacancies.
Madam Chair, can I nudge in here? Just putting on my Conservation Commission hat. I was at a site visit last night with the chair and we were talking informally. If this is, if someone hypothetically was interested in changing the structure of the permitting and building office, who oversees that? Is that planning board? Is that us? Is that the building inspector? I know we're looking at a conservation agent. Personally, just spitballing ideas and looking at, if I were to consider any possibility there, who do we have to get on board and who actually makes the call on that?
Yeah, I think initially, and certainly look at input from town council, but I think initially would be to the select board, because the staff positions fall under the select board's authority. The conservation, the zoning are appointed by select board. So I think it would be the select board that would work. Certainly you'd want to work with those agencies. The planning board is elected, but the staff is under the select board's department. So we'd want to kind of get everybody involved and try to look at if there's a way to better structure that. There's been talk about bringing all the inspectors into that office as well. We have our sealer weights and measures, the plumbing inspector, the gas inspector. So again, it would probably entail bringing all of those departments to the table, talk about it, see if there's willingness. But I think the majority of it, the board can do, select board can do on their own. But hoping that if you get everybody involved, it can make it kind of a comprehensive approach and a comprehensive change. So, but it's a good time. I think
That's what we figured too.
Yeah.
We have been talking the last year or so about the permitting software and trying to transition it to electronic, where the whole process becomes online. So any inspections that are done, everybody who's involved in the inspection is getting the information. And, even if you went to a regionalization of the inspection services, if they use that similar software, then everybody has access to it, and it would cut down on people having to call the inspection, the building inspector or whatnot, and following up. But hopefully we're pretty close.
Yeah, that was one of my updates here. So I could do over here.
Yeah.
So pretty much most of that has been completed. The big stumbling block right now is that there's been just a little bit of slow movement of trying to collaborate with, our regional planning commission and the vendor of getting the database to the right spec for what they need for the software. So that when you pull up the property, when you go in to make an application, under the property field, you start typing, 25 Main Street. As you type it, the system, the database will pull that property. So everything will be in the system. It'll be all automatic as well too. So there's just, I guess, a little difference on the fields of the software compared to the fields of the way that the database that we use is set up. So there's been a lot of back and forth, and we thought we had it a couple times, but from what I understand last week is they finally kind of solved the problem. But this week, the Massachusetts Planning GIS person is on vacation. So apparently when he comes back next week, the hope is that this will get finalized. And I think the forms and all the departments, we'll still have training to do, but I think all the forms have been built and all the processes have been laid out as to this form goes to you, you, and you, and all that I think has been pretty much set. It's really getting this database completed, and then we'll do some training, and then we can actually start launching it from there. So, so it's pretty close.
I'm in complete agreement with you on looking at the department, because even we did fund a fire inspector position also. So it would be nice to have everybody under the same roof if possible.
Yeah, so to that point, I don't know, like, do we want to maybe see what's out there for candidates for building inspector? Because we're gonna need a building inspector regardless.
Yes.
Then at the same time,
Yeah.
because that'll take a couple of months, so at the same time, kind of have these discussions about how.
I mean, I'll tip my hand. My initial thought, looking at part-time conservation agent, knowing the work that other board that I'm on does, whether there's any value to trying to find someone who could be a town planner / conservation agent and then serve both the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board on a higher level. I think things are getting more complicated, and we're very fortunate in that we're a town that people want to be in. And it's nothing against what we're doing now, but it's just everything moves faster. And it seems like that's one of the few boards, and I have to say one of the most important boards that doesn't have that higher level professional support. So again, this is just me spitballing, and I've spit it at a few people and they haven't said no, but I just wasn't sure where that went, because I realized it'd be a bit of a change.
It would, and obviously then you're talking budget and finance committee and everything, and anything like that, but there's the two concerns, there's concerns of want to do it comprehensively and put in place what is right for the future of the town. And then there's the existing work that needs to get done. So that's, I think, where we have to kind of see how we can go down that path together. And I agree, if we have the ability of a little bit more time, I'd rather explore that than rush to fill someone. And again, we're going to need a building commissioner anyways, so we could still go forward on that. But you don't want to get to the point where things get now set again, and now it's like, well, it's like a new person coming in saying, here's the way it's set up, instead of now having to try to bring everyone together to set up.
So with our neighbors, I mean, Mrs. Zaharian as the commissioner, and then they have the building inspectors that would report to him. Is that something that the town could buy into, like just like Sterling, Boylston, West Boylston have done?
I mean, we could, absolutely. I guess it would, again, it's a discussion amongst the board as to how you want to, where that accountability would be, whether we have our own commissioner, and because we need a commissioner. So whether that's a regional commissioner and each town has their own inspector, or we have our own commissioner only and no inspectors. Again, there's all just different models, We just need somebody that's on site, that's available to do inspections, that's certified to do inspections. And with that commissioner license, and someone works under them, the inspector can still sign off on the permits and the inspections, as long as there's a commissioner overseeing it. So however the model is, what's best for the town, open to that discussion. It's just that we do need somebody on a day-to-day basis with a lot going on. We have to keep that, the work flowing as well too. So, but certainly any of those models, I'm wide open. I don't think we should close to anything because we're talking, how is this gonna be best for operation or efficiency for the future of the town? So not what we've done today or yesterday or whatever, what we're gonna need for tomorrow. So I would really take the time to think about it, you know.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not trying to shoehorn anything in here.
No.
I'm just, we're looking at it from Conservation Commission. I'm trying to find out ways to make that more valuable. And if that's, you know, whether that's a regional thing, we're piggybacking on the town or piggybacking on our own town with if the planning board needs help. I haven't talked to them frankly at all about this. So I just wanted to figure out who we need to get at the table if we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Art, what's your time frame for the conservation
I mean, we're,
commission?
there's little fires and big fires, so we're
Yeah.
trying to just get caught up on a lot of paperwork.
We're
And
just gonna get some help,
yep, and we're right. So we're looking at
Band-Aid
putting
it,
out like
kinda.
right,
Yeah, Band-Aid
again,
the
putting out
situation.
our own little dumpster fire.
Yeah.
We're just getting caught up. Like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's a great problem to have. A lot of people want to be in Clinton. So we just trying to get caught up, and then looking long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be, from what I understand, that the consultant's route is not necessarily cheap. So how long that would get us,
Right.
you know, it's going to give us a peek into how much help we need, but the peek I've had already seems to be that we could use some
You
help.
go. Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe we just maybe do it congruently, like hire for the positions. That you know.
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't
put
want to hold
together-
anything up. And like you said, I think we're going to need a building
Yeah,
inspector,
that
but as
can't-
far as,
that can't be a thing. Yeah.
And I think once we see the candidates, because that's another tough position, you know, any of the licensing or specialty positions are hard in the municipal environment right now to find. We've been with the baby boom generation that's retiring. There wasn't a lot of people in the bullpen or in the farm league that was coming up. So we're finding all across the state difficulties in financial positions and building inspections, you know, DPW, anything that you need a specialty for. The DOR is now trying to do a on-the-job training to try to get younger people involved in accounting and treasurer, collector type stuff, because they're seeing it everywhere. You know, you go to conferences and say, oh, all the towns, I'm looking for a treasurer, I'm looking for a treasurer. Does anyone have any ideas? And they just say, good luck, you know, because you're really forced with the competition of trying to find somebody. So definitely, you know, to look at what we get in for applicants. If we get, you know, superstar commissioners and you want to go with that you can consider it. If we're only getting a building inspector and no commissioners, then we may have to look to a model of a regional model. But once we get the applicants, then you can know which way to go with it. You know, because if we end up just go with the commissioner, we hire a commissioner and we're kind of locked into that. Well, now it eliminates some other options, you know. So we'll see what the recruitment brings in, and then keeping constant communication with the board, and then see if we want to kind of accelerate some of these discussions, you know.
Madam Chair, can you, sorry.
What's the difference between a commissioner or what's the difference?
The commissioner, it's a higher license, and every town is required to have a commissioner that runs the department. So an inspector, the commissioner license it's more detailed because it's talking about legal stuff, management, operations, budgets, you know, running a department, where the inspector licensing is only looking at the building code and doing inspections and construction. So you might have a lot of people that were from the field and in the trades that would get their inspector license, but they have difficulty kind of going into the financial, budgetary, legal type realm of getting a commissioner license. But the state requires, in order to certify building permits, that you have a commissioner that is running your department, whether it's a regional commissioner or whether it's a commissioner in your town. So, and again, because of the licensing for both, there's shortages, but the commissioner, it's even more because that's a tougher bar to get to. So we'll have to see if we get people with commissioner license. I think the last time we recruited, I don't know if we received any that had the commissioner license.
That was my question. I thought Mr. Salmon, we got it, and I don't know if it was contingent or he was
Right, 'cause
reported
provisional,
or,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
That was my
yeah.
question. I don't think he had it when we hired him, but he was on his way to it or promised to get it.
Right, yeah, exactly. So once we get those applicants in, then, you know, I can kind of give feedback to the board and we'll see where we go. But definitely to have that it's been brought up, to have each member now think about your thoughts about what you would like to see, what you think is good for the town, and then we'll keep the discussion going.
Would a very hypothetical town planner / conservation agent also be the building commissioner or no? Does that one trump the other?
Yeah, I think the commissioner would have to have the state license, so I don't
know what the models are, like if.
Yeah, I don't
that
know
would
if I've
cancel
seen that
out.
model. Yeah. So we could definitely we can look into.
I'm not saying it has to. I'm just wondering if we're gonna hire one, if that eliminates another, or if we still need both.
Right. Yeah, then we'll take a look. Yeah, I think you could have maybe a whole planning department and maybe inspectional services under that.
Yeah.
But whether the inspector would then, probably not oversee the planning part of it. But that's a good point. That's a good question. I'll look into that to see if there's any other towns that have that model. Yeah. Yeah. So, good.
Thanks for the board's.
Yeah. Great. And I did talk about the e-permitting, so if there was anything else, I think that was mostly it that I had. The only quick thing, I know the chair indicated with the making public art will be put forward at the next meeting for a more detailed presentation. But what they are looking at is with that grant is maybe soliciting artists to do a mural of that large railroad wall at Depot Square. So just so that people are aware what the scope is right now. I know there was some thought whether it would be, a sculpture or the different ideas, but I think what they're kind of looking to put out there is to try to kind of do something on that blank backdrop there. So we'll hear more about that meeting, but just something to kind of think about, that's where they're coming from. So.
All right.
Excellent. So thank you. I think
Thank
that's
you.
mostly what I had. So.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, town administrator evaluation and fiscal year 2025 goal setting.
Yeah, so I think, Madam Chair, I think we don't have our full board here. And
Yeah.
I think I mentioned to the chair that we're in the process of getting the evaluation tool access to the chair so that then it can be sent out and all the replies will go back to the chair for the chair to put some together. So, before we had HR, that would help facilitate it. We don't have that right now. And obviously it's on the town administrator, so I don't want to be involved. So we'll have that set up so that it would flow through the chair for everybody. So, and then, like I said, we'll talk about goals and stuff at the next meeting. So we have the full board. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Administrative business, water, sewer, trash abatements. Superintendent of Public Works, Kevin Bartlett, has submitted a list of abatements in the amount of $4,109.28 from the last billing cycle.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the water sewer abatement request for $4,109.28.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. 1-day beer and wine license, Old Home Day. Old Home Day Committee is requesting a 1-day beer and wine license in conjunction with Old Home Day event on Friday, September 6th, through Saturday, September 7th on Church Street.
Madam Chair, I'll make this motion.
Yeah.
Is The 1 day covers 2 days, or how does that work? Which day are they picking?
Yeah, it would be a 1 day for each day.
For each day.
Two 1 day.
Sorry, two
It would
1
be-
days. Madam Chair, I move that we approve 1 day beer and liquor licenses for Old Home Days for the 2 days, Friday, September 6th and Saturday, September 7th on Church Street.
It would be issued to the committee and.
Sorry, issued to the Old Home
With
Day committee.
their sub recipient as to whoever they would hire to do that.
Great.
Then,
Well,
So can we add Walnut Street to that? Like, as a possibility, I spoke to the chief of police, but contingent upon the chief of police. They're,
The liquor? The 1 day liquor?
Yeah, for two locations or one?
so Church and Walnut.
Okay, yeah, that's up to the board.
I'll
yeah.
withdraw.
I think the assumption was that it would be where it was historically, but
Yeah.
if there's changes, so it would be the license for the one license to cover, it's covering two locations, right? Or one,
Right.
you're moving it to Walnut, or you're gonna have two?
No, the idea would be maybe expanding
Okay,
and utilizing more of Walnut Street for food and food vendors.
okay.
So just to kind of have some flexibility where if it expanded, then it could be on Church and
Yep, sure.
Walnut.
Want
let's
to
try
redo
this
it?
one. Yeah, I'm going to withdraw that motion and move that we approve 2 1 day beer and wine licenses for the Old Home Day Committee for Friday, one for Friday, September 6th, one for Saturday, September 7th, to include Church Street between Chestnut and Walnut between Church and Union.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. All in new business. Property conditions at 675 Main Street. We'd like to discuss an update on maintenance of that property.
That's me, Madam Chair.
That's you.
I guess the good news is that it's so overgrown you can't see it anymore, but it was blight before and it hasn't gotten better. I was just curious if there's anybody I can call. I know when we did, or whoever did work down at Depot Square, they were staging equipment there, so somebody must have signed off on something somewhere. Again, I can call Mr. Hogan and just even a basic, I don't expect them to raise the place, but if someone could get a weed whacker down there and just
Yeah.
pick up some trash, it's offensive.
Chief Lutz, the last time, had got involved and it was cleaned up immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, I did speak with the building inspector.
Oh.
He, I'm sorry to.
No, I was just saying, what did he do to move that along? But was it a fire
Fire.
violation?
Yeah, fire.
Right, and I think what we're trying to do, the last time, the fire chief and the building inspector, got involved, but they end up getting outside assistance to get it cleaned up, just to, be able to help the neighbors. And the property owner was not held accountable for that. So this time around, the building inspector is going to find out and, do formal notice to the property owner and get them involved and find out, clean up what's there and get a plan going forward for the property. So we're not visiting this, it was cleaned up and now it's a year later and obviously things grow and now the board is having to deal with it a year later. It's the property owner should be the one that should be addressing this.
Okay. So you said the building inspector is going to do that?
Right.
Okay. What, does he have a time frame?
He said he would get back to me this week with some information because he's trying to determine to make sure who the property owner is.
Yeah.
Because there was an owner, then there was an agreement on for purchase.
Okay.
And it was the people had gotten approved from the planning board. They were coming in for demo permit. Then that never happened.
Okay.
So he doesn't know if they went through with the sale and now there's a new owner or if it's the previous owner.
Okay.
Last year, they ended up bringing in some outside
Yeah.
sources just to clean it up, but they didn't address the root cause. So this time they're
Yeah.
going to find out what's going on.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
And this is where that,
Yeah.
the vacancy tax
be applicable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
How many years? It's been since I've been on the board. 3 or 4 years
yeah,
Yes.
plus.
all of that.
Yeah. And we have had the neighbors come in and they were kind and patient, but I'm sure they're anxious to see that become something more than overgrown weeds. Okay, well, keep us posted on that one. Next is recycling center materials pricing list update. Solid waste and recycling subcommittees would like to bring to the select board's attention the need to update the pricing materials for the recycling center.
I know, Madam Chair, I did upload something to the packet. I should have made photocopies because it was after the fact. But it was just really just providing a lay of the land right now. So it just gave I kind of modified what the current charge list is. That's up on the website. And I ended up putting what the charges are to the customer to dispose, and then what the cost of the town to 2 columns, so you can see one for one what the
Mhm.
cost of the town
Okay.
is for it. So, so I did provide that information, so you should have that and on your computers. I think the biggest concern right now is tires. That in the past we would charge $2 a tire. We were charging 1 sticker, which was $2.50 a tire, $2.50 per sticker, and so that covered the cost. The currently tires have been building up. Once we did that, then subsequently Central Mass Mosquito Control took over and they started taking them for free. So we didn't have to cost anything. And then this spring, they stopped doing that. So the tires have been building up, and we just recently got rid of them, and it cost a couple $1,000s because there were so many. And now they're $5 a tire instead of $2 a tire. Because we haven't, probably 10 years, we probably haven't paid for tires. And so now they've gone up to $5 and our sticker is only $2.50. So we got rid of them so we could clean up the area, but going forward, just to know we're gonna be losing money every time somebody brings a tire in. So.
And that's where I would like to make a motion tonight just on the tire fee. And it's a little complex too, because you have, small vehicle tires, then you have truck tires, and then there are large tires. So at the time right now, I don't think we don't take large tires. But in speaking with, Mr. Ward and Mr. Bartlett, it seemed maybe raising it to $7.50 per tire would cover 20 inches and below versus, I think right now, I think he said, forget the number now, 19 and below is one price and 20 to 24 is another price. But I'd like to make a motion that we update the pricing on tires to $7.50 per tire.
I'll second. And so that's 3 stickers.
3 stickers,
What is it now? 1 sticker?
sticker.
Yeah, Madam Chair, just to, Mr. Copus and I are on this committee, and yeah, it was eye-opening. It's a tremendous, tremendous value here. We're way behind the times, or giving everyone a complete deal, and not just on tires, on a lot of things. So, I think the idea is to keep the sticker price the same and maybe tweak it as far as, to get us caught up, because, we certainly don't need this to be a high profit business, but we also don't want to be losing money, especially with people from out of town are taking advantage of it. So fully support.
All right. And the DPW, that's like market rate or covers our costs.
Yeah, it would, exactly, would, so I think we stick with not accepting the large truck tires. And then just anything from, like, I wanna say Kevin had said 22 inches and below would kind of cover that. At least for temporary.
Yeah.
And then temporarily, and then if we want to go through a little more thoroughly to update pricing, then we could always modify it, but at least in the short term. Doing the 3 stickers, because if 2 stickers only covers the 5,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
can always bring it down. We can always adjust it.
Okay.
First,
All right. Sorry, did you make a motion? You second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. We have some material, I think, on the website that has like sticker prices, so I don't know if we can look into updating that.
Yeah, so there's a pricing schedule that's on the website. So,
Okay.
so that can easily be modified to put in the new, because everything else will stay the same. So it's really
Right.
just changing one sticker to 3 stickers. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Perfect. And I think the DPW also like, don't they send out a flyer at the beginning of each fiscal year, or is that more of a
Posted
trend schedule?
They posted it online. It's usually on the backside of the calendar.
Just all.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, that's convenient. Okay, great. All right, next. Employee time and attendance software proposal. The Personnel Board is recommending implementation of software module from Harper's Payroll that allows employees to submit their timesheets electronically to the treasurer collector's office.
So, Madam Chair, what I was putting forward was a proposal from our current payroll company. Based on discussions with the board this past year and trying to get more accountability on time and attendance and vacation usage and sick time, I think we talked both for the employees, so they know how much time they have, they can monitor what their usage, but also for the town, so that we're fair to employees when they're leaving town service, that we have given them what we owe them and that we have a record that we can back up. But we never really have that central reporting. So we did put in place, when HR was here, a paper timesheet. So we have all departments that are now filling out, all employees in every department are filling out timesheets. So the employee will fill out the sheet, they'll give it to their supervisor. The employee needs to fill it out, sign it, the supervisor then signs it, and it gets submitted to the treasurer collector. So at least we now have a central repository for all this information, but it's all paper. So the Personnel Board felt that, just for efficiency and also for ease of compliance, that having it in electronic format would be helpful. So we reached out to our current payroll vendor, and they do have a time and attendance module. So I think, again, that proposal, I think I uploaded today into the board packet. So essentially, it's a $3.50 per check or per employee or per processing per month. So what it would do, it would be an app, or it would be an icon on a computer, or an app where the employee would pull it up. They would fill out the timesheet. They would hit submit, that they approve it. It would go to their supervisor, almost like the e-permitting system. It would then go to their supervisor. They would review it and approve it. And once they hit submit, it goes to payroll. And it gets to payroll, it'll dovetail with our current system. So it'll automatically roll into payroll. So the treasurer's office doesn't have to data entry, or they don't have to note vacation, sick usage, or whatever, that it's all going to be part of the system and it'll roll in. So, and then on top of that, it would also have a accruals mod part of it, so that you can program any department or any employee. So if, we have if the unions are to be involved, and again, we can, have further discussions how it's rolled out, but there's different accruals for different employee groups, but those can all be allocated to that employee. So the system will automatically every month give you a day of sick time or a day of vacation time, whatever your accrual is. Then when you take that time, it will deduct it from that bank, so that the employee can go in and see how much time they have. The town and the supervisor can see what they have left. And then when they do put in for a request of time off, if that goes to the supervisor. If the supervisor approves it, it then goes onto the supervisor's calendar. So then they can monitor their staff and said, oh, that's right, we already approved a day off for we need coverage in the office, so we can't give you this day because somebody's already out. So that way then the supervisor, the manager is able to better run their department. And then if that does get approved, then that will automatically go into their timesheet. So when the employee goes to fill it out on the end of the week, it's already populated with the leave time that they took off that week. So it just adds to more efficiencies, gives us a little bit a better access to some of the data as well too, and gives us the ability to get compliance, because paper is hard and people forget, and you bring it down to an office and they're at lunch. It's tough. So this way it's all electronic. The rollout, again, we haven't talked with the schools, so we weren't really considering the school. Although they're part of our payroll, it's all part of the same system. This can be done by department or by town school, by just non-union, and then do the unions later. Because the unions do a more comprehensive payroll because they have so many people and they have to keep track of it. So we do have more data with the unions. It's the kind of the onesie or twosies offices where, again, managers are keeping the time, so that's great. It's just really, making sure that we're getting compliance with submitting your time to the treasurer, that they have a record of it, that we have a central record of it, that we don't have to call 10 departments if we not want to know, how much vacation time is
Gotcha.
left on the books, that type of thing. But so we could do it just non-union departments, then unions, or do non-union unions, or then maybe in the future do school. But if all of the towns sign right now, kind of an average in the last few months, some of the employees in there might be seasonal employees. The payroll company said we're probably looking at about 225, 228, somewhere in that area. So if it's $350 per check processing or per employee processing, over a 12-month period, you're probably talking about $9,450, maybe less than 10,000. So nine to 10,000 in that range. And it will fluctuate each month depending on who's using it. If you don't do some of the bigger departments right off, then that will be a little less, and maybe do them in the future. So I want to put that forward for the board to review and see if it's something that we want to try out and at least go forward with.
Yeah, I agree with, I would, I don't know how the school does, well, I know it goes through central office on the school side, but, I think, in my opinion, if you talk to Dr. Meyer on the school side and see, if that would be a benefit on that, and go the whole town. I mean,
Sure. No, that's
I
good.
have
I
to-
don't know if they have a system or what they use, but certainly can reach out to Dr. Meyer. They're the same payroll. We have different batches because the schools are every 2 weeks, and the town is weekly, so they're different batches, but it all does go into the same company.
Yeah, so if it was $3.50 a month versus $3.50 a pay period, and you're talking, if they're paid weekly, if employees are paid weekly, then
Right.
that'd be a little more costly, but I mean,
I've used them before in past companies. It's super simple and really efficient and eliminates a lot of keying in, and I think we will reap the benefits of efficiency and also probably ultimately save money, given if we're looking at time equaling money. So I'm for it. For sure.
Yeah, and I think it brings it, to your point, right back to the hands of the employee, where right now, say if you're in, police, fire, DPW, they are having to ask the office all the time.
Yeah.
If you forget how much time you've used, how much do I have left? How much vacation time do I have? Now the employee can control that themselves, and they'll be able to see right in their portal, how much time they have left to use.
Yep.
do we?
I don't know, do
wanna-
you need to vote on it or?
Yeah, I think we'd like to see if the board want to accept the proposal, and then we could work with the company on a rollout. And then as each meeting, I can give the board update as we're going to the rollout. And I think even the company said, it's not something they would probably do everybody, like just turn the switch 1 week and everybody's
Yeah.
on. It's something that they would even, because they have to set up all the accrual times and all the program, all of each department's employee groups. So it's going to take them some time. But if they're the easier ones, they could set those up right away and then kind of work towards the other ones. So I can kind of keep the board update on the implementation, and then the board can decide as we go forward, this department, not that, or whatever, and I'll have a chance to talk to Dr. Meyer. But if the board is willing to go forward and you accept the proposal, then we can at least get them started on, town hall, library, senior center, parks, those that would be, that could be quick to implement those.
Do they have a module for requesting time off that's part of that?
Yes, that's part of that whole program. Yeah. So it is part of that same cost. There will be a request function so that you can then ask for a time off, and then it goes to your supervisor. And then if they approve it, then you'll get a notice back whether that's approved or not. And yeah, and that'll all be part of the system, that it's been requested, it's been approved, and that's all part of the system that you can then have a record of as well too. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the employee time and attendance software proposal as presented by the town administrator.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. All right, Mass Trails Grant Award Contract. The Department of Conservation and Recreation has sent a contract documents for acceptance of a 500,000 grant to begin construction of the Mass Central Rail Trail in Clinton. The grant requires a 25% match by the town of Clinton. This was
Yeah,
voted.
so this is just for the board to accept the award of the 500,000 and allow the chair to sign the grant contract. The money's already been appropriated at town meeting, and the grant has already been approved by the state. So it's just doing the paperwork to have the money transferred to the town.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the Mass Trails Grant Award contract from the Department of Conservation and Recreation in the amount of $500,000.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
No, I just want to thank, continued thanks to the Greenway Conservation Trust, Franny and Chris and the whole team over there for their diligence and seeing this through.
Yeah, this will actually be now a visible.
Yeah, I know. All
Yeah.
that hard work, yeah.
20 years.
That's fantastic, yeah. All right, then all those in favor? Aye. 3-0. All right, WRT Annual Transportation Contract. This was a carryover from last week. We were trying to negotiate I can read it. All right, Worcester Regional Transit Authority sent an annual agreement to the town of Clinton to provide senior van service to the Council on Aging. And this would be a reimbursement of about $85,955. The town provides the drivers and vehicle insurance for the fiscal year. I think we were trying to go back and negotiate based on our cost. Do we want to just see if the Council on Aging Director wants to follow up and then?
Yeah, so I did
decide.
have a chance to
Okay.
speak with their fiscal officer at WRTA.
Okay.
So I think at this point, I think I would advise maybe to go forward with the contract. They finalized their departmental budget and all of these amounts back in February, earlier in the year that they negotiate the contract. So as we go into the next round, we can
Okay.
have more talks with them.
Okay.
But that being said, the COA is required to submit monthly expenses to the WRTA. So they try to keep the services contract close to what those expenses that they're submitting. So over the last couple of years, our expenses have gone up, but our service contract has gone up, and reimbursement's gone up as well too. So, is it maybe not penny for penny, but they said they do really try to adjust it every year based on the monthly expenses that the director sends into them. So it should be fairly close. There are a couple of other things that they did mention, and I know in my write-up here, which I forgot, I copied that from the last meeting, that they mentioned that we can which the vehicle insurance portion. So some towns do pay the insurance and then the WRTA will reimburse them. But here in Clinton, they're saying that the WRTA is paying the insurance. So if the town, so that's all part of their kind of their budget for Clinton. So they're reimbursing us some expenses, but then they're also paying other expenses to run that service as well too. So they said if the town can get a cheaper rate, some towns insure it themselves and they get cheaper rates than WRTA for the insurance. Then they said that would free up that portion of the budget to go more into providing more service to the drivers or to the users of the van, because then they won't have that cost on the other end. So they're not looking to kind of take away any costs. They're just trying to allocate based on the budget they have for all their towns and trying to be fair on the reimbursement, but also they need money to cover some costs that we don't pay. So once I heard that, I said, we'll look into that and see if for the upcoming insurance renewal, if we can add that on to our insurance. I asked, we have Maya insurance. I asked if he knew offhand if Maya towns were insured, and he wasn't sure. He was aware that there were some other non-Maya towns that did do it, but he wasn't sure about Maya. So we'll find that out and see what the difference between what they pay, whether we can and cannot do it, and how much that difference is as well. The other aspect he mentioned, that they do have a centralized dispatch service that they offer, which they feel again would be maybe less than what we're paying for the service right now of doing it ourselves. So again, he said that could then free up more money that could go back to providing more service in the van or more reimbursement to the department. So we had a good discussion. Felt that that they were sincere, that saying that the number isn't way off, so if we're getting 85,000, it's not like it's costing us 125,000 and it's way off. I mean, there may be some room for tweaking, but they said they base their number off of an average of what they get each month from the COA director submits to them. So we'll certainly, as they now go into our fall and our budget process, their budget process is the same time. So we'll keep in communication with them and see if there's ways that we can up our number or bring their number down. So, but it was a good conversation. So I appreciate the board then, kind of giving us the direction, because we wouldn't have had the conversation.
Right.
otherwise.
I was gonna say, good to explore. So, okay.
So we're approving
But
this?
yeah,
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the WRTA annual transportation contract for the town of Clinton, senior van service through the Council on Aging in the amount of $85,955.
Second.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for looking into it. Human Resources Manager Search Committee, Town Administrator is seeking a representative from the Select Board to serve on the search committee for the Human Resources Manager, as is mentioned earlier in this meeting. So,
Yep. So just as I mentioned earlier, just looking for a volunteer from the board that would be willing to review resumes and help with the interview process. And I'll be reaching out then to Dr. Meyer to see if somebody on the school committee, I think we had the last time, we had select board members, school committee members, personnel board members. I think they have already, I went to their meeting recently, their July meeting, so they had given a representative to serve on that committee. And then we have the treasurer, but we don't have a treasurer right now. And then myself and Dr. Meyer were involved as well too. So we had a pretty good kind of cross section of the different agencies that interact directly with the HR office. So
that was me last time. Anyone else interested? We have a lot of search committees
I think it's-
That's where. Sure, it can
I've done
kind
this
of go
before too, but I
around.
think I'm up
Yeah.
on this one. So
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay. Congratulations.
You don't have to contain your
I
enthusiasm.
know. So we'll just go in rotation order.
Two of these. Three.
I do. Okay. Personnel board appointment review, as requested by the select board, the town solicitor will provide a legal review of the appointment made by the personnel board at the last meeting. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I go back and look at this as the board. So, recently voted to appoint Matt Varakis to the Personnel Board. And as you may know, Mr. Varakis is an elected official in the town. He's on the school committee. So I had to go back and look in 2022, a similar issue came up. Lisa Prophet was on the Personnel Board. At that time, Mary Rose Dickout got elected to the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board, and at the time, she was on the Personnel Board. So the language in the personnel bylaw that you may recall provides that of the 5 members that are appointed by the Board of Selectmen, 4 members shall be registered voters in the town of Clinton, and the 5th member shall be a full-time elected employee or an appointed employee under the jurisdiction of the Personnel Board. So that was what came up in 2022, because Lisa Prophet was designated as that individual. She fell under the Personnel Board. You know, she works obviously in the DPW department. At the time when Mary Rose got elected to the Board of Selectmen, she obviously was already on the Personnel Board. So at that time, I opined to the board that, hey, Ms. Dickout is not a full-time elected employee or an appointed employee under the jurisdiction of the Personnel Board. That was my opinion, that she was not a full-time elected employee, that was meant to be at the time when we used to have, like, the treasurer was elected, the chair of the Board of Assessors was elected. It was meant for those types of positions. So that was my opinion. My opinion hasn't changed. I mean, Mr. Varakis is elected, but in my opinion, him, like Mary Rose Dickout at the time, he is not a full-time elected employee under the jurisdiction of the Personnel Board. So my opinion from 2022 to 2024 has not changed. But recall that in 2022, the Board of Selectmen, at least the majority of the Board of Selectmen, disagreed with me. They thought that Mary Rose Dickout was a full-time elected employee, and the board voted, contrary to my opinion. But my opinion has not changed. Mr. Varakis is not a full-time elected employee. So the fact that he's on there right now with Brendan Bailey is you could look at him as Lisa Prophet of 2 years ago. He's a full-time appointed employee that falls under the Personnel Board. He also happens to be a elected member of the school committee. But that aside, the fact that Mr. Varakis is on with Mr. Bailey, Mr. Varakis is not a full-time elected employee, in my opinion. So the opinion hasn't changed. The board's vote may change, but I should say the board's vote did change, because it was contrary to what was done in 2022. But from a legal standpoint, my opinion stands.
Contrary to that, though, the board never took action, and Mary Rose was allowed to finish out her term on. She was not removed.
She was not.
She didn't seek reappointment.
Right, exactly. But from a legal standpoint, the opinion is the exact same.
Same, yeah. But we can. move
Yeah, there was no,
forward with Matthew.
and he was the only, I think
He was the only
candidate,
person.
right?
Yeah. Happy, and is there still one more vacancy there? So. All right, so can continue with Matthew Varakis as the appointed, and then for anyone out there who would like to be on the Personnel Board, we still have a vacancy, correct? For a citizen? Okay. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
taking
the
a look at that. Really appreciate it. Alrighty. Americans with Disability Act, ADA notice and grievance policy update. An updated ADA grievance policy and notice has been drafted for a select board review, which is needed for inclusion in the open space and recreation plan that we're about hopefully finalizing soon.
So Madam Chair, just to briefly on this, as you read, we had a prior grievance procedure that's probably predated me. The open space plan, it's a requirement to have a grievance policy in there. So we thought it was a good opportunity to come up with an updated one and look to see what the modern policies and what other towns are using. So the Open Space Committee did some research and they came up with this policy that's in the packet as a draft if the board is willing to accept that, that will then become the town's new policy. I think it's a good practice, which we haven't done, to get that on the website so we can get out notice to the public. And also then it can be inclusion into the packet for the open space plan that is looking to wrap up this fall.
Okay.
So I think the only question I think that was in there was, I think it's a yellow highlight. It was just if somebody asked for a, like a temporary or quick accommodation, that they would have to do it at least within 72 hours. And the question was, would we have to make sure we had enough time to address that? So say that somebody needed a sign language interpreter or we've had in the past that people have asked for large print documents for town meeting or something like that. So would 72 hours be sufficient time? So again, we don't want to make it, if somebody only finds out about a meeting and we don't want to say, well, you should have told us 2 weeks ago, we kind of want to be able to work with people. So I think we could try the 72 hours and see if there's any conflict at this time. At least it gets it out there and gets it back in front of the public again, and then see how it goes. So we don't have a lot of requests of that nature. So obviously, if it's a permanent request or a large request that may require construction or modification of something, then obviously we're not going to be able to answer that in 3 days. And the law does require, that it's a reasonable accommodation. So I think the issue was just if it was something like a meeting request or some kind of a kind of ongoing type issue, that they at least give us a couple of days to put something in place. So it's not the day of the meeting. They're asking to print something in a special format for them. That's all.
Madam Chair.
Mhm.
So with this, does Comcast provide the closed caption service as part of our programming? Because I spoke to someone who was hearing impaired, and they said to me that they couldn't follow meetings on Comcast, and then I had redirected the person to YouTube, which YouTube does provide the live closed captioning, but I didn't know if that's something that we can offer also.
Yeah, I think it's something we would have to do, or the cable department would have to do. It's not something cable would provide, but I think there are services or devices that we could purchase that could then interpret that programming for us. So certainly it's something that I think it's worthy to, even regardless of the policy, even just as a practice, it's something we can ask Mr. McMinn to look into and see what the cost would be if it's something that would be, hopefully that would be something that's, the technology has improved. I know years ago, we had looked into it years ago, but the technology was very primitive and it was costly, and half the words were spelt wrong or garbled or whatever. But I understand now that it's kind of very much improved, very sharp. So it's definitely worth getting a price on it and see if it's something we can do. And whether it's for all programming or even just maybe the meetings, to start with the meetings, that might be helpful.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let me write that down, then we'll get a price, we'll bring a price back to the board.
Do we vote on? Do we need to accept it or?
I'll make a motion to accept the American with Disabilities Act notice and grievance policy update as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Athletic field, National Grid easement, home rule petition, legislation. Massachusetts Division of Capital Asset Management has determined that an amendment is needed, to the conveyance legislation that transferred the athletic fields on West Boylston Street to
Yeah.
the town of Clinton in order to grant an easement to National Grid for the power lines that run through the property.
So either one of us could take it and should maybe.
Yeah.
So-
I bet, here.
If the, Madam Chair, the board may recall that as part of with the new middle school, there was some cleaning up that had to be done. There was some easements actually on both sides where the school is and then where the ball fields are. There were some easements from, I don't know, Michael, it's gonna be 20 years ago, whatever, or more. There was a couple iterations where the easements never got recorded. So we straightened that all out with which is now obviously National Grid, and got all the easements on both sides straightened out, got the deed signed. They haven't been recorded yet because unfortunately on the field side, where the football field is, the parking lot is, there's those power lines that run through there. And those power lines were actually there when the state conveyed this Article 97 land to the town of Clinton. And at the time, New England Power, National Grid's predecessor, had a license for those poles that were there. So when we got the land, the poles are already there. I think the license has expired. So now Grid, as part of this whole thing of cleaning up, Grid needs an easement to continue to have their poles there that, in lines. Well, the state now has told us, well, it's Article 97 land, so you can't just give them that easement. You have to get approval through special legislation. Even though I argued with them, I know I've had quite a few phone calls saying they were already there when you conveyed the property to the town. Those poles were already there. The state had already given, New England Power the authority. But anyway, they said, well, it's Article 97 land. In order for you to record that easement, you have to file the legislation. And I'll have to discuss this with the town administrator. But I believe even before we can do that, notwithstanding this has all been approved, these easements through town meeting, we may have to go to town meeting again just to get the authority to file the request for the special, legislation, because it's Article 97 land. This is part of the process. I just need to clarify that. We were hoping we can avoid the town meeting and go right to getting the legislation done, which I think shouldn't be a problem, but we may have to go to town meeting first. It's just this has been a long process.
Nightmare.
My hope is, and we'll see what the interpretation is that the legislation or the article that we did at the past town meeting was to give the selectmen the authority to do whatever needs to be done to, complete these easement conveyances on behalf of the town. So my interpretation would be that the board already has the authority, and the board can ask the our rep and senator to file the legislation, but we'll see. What that legally, what the State House would be up to the council, the lawyers for the House and Senate, as to what their interpretation will be. So we'll find out from them, but at least we want to bring it to the board's attention and get the board's authorization to go forward with it and see. So the legislation that conveyed that property, as town council indicated, it was for open space, recreation, or education use. So now by conveying a power easement, the DCAM, Division of Capital Asset Management, their determination by their lawyers was that power easement doesn't fall into those three categories. So we would need to amend that legislation then to include giving power company an easement for their power lines, which, as Mr. Gibbons said, were already there when they gave us the land. The state put the power lines on there, not us. So that's how we inherited it. That's the interpretation, and to clean this up forward, we're looking for the board's okay to start talking with our elected officials and the state and Mr. Gibbons to try to put something together.
I will make a motion to approve just looking for the cheat sheet.
would just be to pursue home rule legislation for conveyance of easement.
I make a motion to approve the athletic field national grid easement home rule petition legislation as presented for the easement of the power lines running through the athletic fields, West Wilson Street. To grant easement to National Grid.
The tidy one.
That's
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
Thank you.
Okey-dokey. Any committee reports?
The only one that I have is just for Old Home Day. Things are progressing very well. Looking forward to it's a month away. So, looking forward to it.
Great. Anybody else? Cycling, yeah. Conservation. Community announcements. We don't have any today. And so I think that's it for our agenda. All right.
Do you want to make a motion to adjourn? I don't know if you want to give the next meeting date.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, so the next select board meeting will be on Wednesday, September 4th at 7. So I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.